All right, we are live, as you can see. Okay, okay, we said we want to go live. Should be live already. There we go. Should be live already. There we go. Should be live already. There we go. No, I'm not doing this again. Okay. How do I know if it's like working properly? Quality what? Why is the highest? Okay. Stream health so far. Settings as usual. Nice. Okay. Here's the real test. No, we don't want that. F11. Lovely. Okay. All right. Alexa, continue the 1 hour timer.
Your 1 hour timer resumed on ORB of endless chaos with about 1 hour left.
Okay. What were the problems facing Black Americans in the early 1950s? I've still. Okay. Now that I know it works, let's do this. All right, now this should work. All right, now this should work. Do that. It's relevant. Then if I ever need to see the chat, oh god, wrong place. I'll just switch, I guess. Place. Well, proliferation Black Americans in the early 1950s, rich in the South, no voting rights, federal oversight vote. In states where under 50% of those eligible to vote, i.e. racist southern states, racist in the South, no voting rights. Well, organizations were trying to improve the lives of Black Americans in the early 1950s. That's the NAACP and the core. Oh, what was the Supreme Court case that began to undermine the Jim Crow segregation laws? Uh, Brown versus Board of Education. Did the Brown case lead to change? Yes. Long run, yes. Begins desegregation and is the basis of NAACP challenging Jim Crow laws. Short term, slow to desegregate, increase racism, resistance to change. It's resistant to change. For example, Little Rock in 1957. Who was murdered in 1955? What does this tell us about racism in this period? Emmett Till, 14 years old, murders were white, got off no punishment. Racist system, but Emmett Till's mother used the tragedy to raise awareness of racism. She used an open casket. What happened at the Little Rock High School in 1957? What happened at my Little Rock? What happened at Little Rock High School in 1957? Yeah, Governor Forbes tries to stop 9 black children from attending the school and uses the army to stop them. President Eisenhower takes over the National Guard to allow the students to go. He refused to give up a seat, kick-starting the Montgomery bus boycott. That's alright. So like that's not Malcolm X. It's obviously Rosa Parks. Oh yeah. Nothing to do here. We're doing all right. Continue. Why was the Montgomery bus boycott successful? Commitment of those involved lasted over a year. Role of leaders like Martin Luther King, increased publicity. Role of NAACP to get the case to the Supreme Court and won Browder vs. Gale. Okay, we need to first of all make sure if the answers are like all fair. Question title with yep. Answer with okay. Oh, that won't let us. You have to. Okay. Error checking options should be relaxed. This is history. You won't really change it. Yeah, okay. Why was the Montgomery bus boycott successful? Okay, those involved less over a year. Well, role of leaders like Martin Luther King increased publicity. Role of NAACP who took the case. Oh, he's like this. Role of the leaders like Martin Luther King increased publicity. Roles of NAACP took the case to the Supreme Court and won. Browder versus Gale. Okay. Why was Martin Luther King so important in the civil rights movement? Great public speaker. He was a great public speaker, Baptist preacher, set up the organization SCLC, which worked with the white politicians to get change, made use of nonviolent tactics to gain the moral high ground. Emmett Till, 14 years old, murdered. Yeah, no, it's definitely. Who opposed the civil rights movement in the 1950s? Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, they were very well known. They burnt crosses. They lynched people. The WCC, the more mainstream with the support from white politicians in the South, but still used violence and intimidation. Look at that Claire. Sin City was a lady. Dixiecrats, Southern Democrats who opposed change of bloc reform in Congress. Yep. Right. Oh yes. Hooray! Okay. Other problems facing Black Americans in the early 1950s. Jim Crow laws. What else? Oh, right. Racism in the south of America. So racism in the south, no voting rights. So is that a bit too loud? Oh my god. Oh my god. Organizers were trying to improve the lives of Black Americans. NAACP, NAACP, Core. What was the Supreme Court case that began to undermine the Jim Crow segregation laws? Uh, Topeka versus Brown. Brown, but oh yeah, the Brown case lead to change. Yes, in the long term. No, in the short term. So what happens in the long term again? Long term, long term. Ditto. It's more relaxed. So long run, yes, desegregation. So it begins desegregation and is the basis of the NAACP, challenging Jim Crow. Short term, yes, it was. What? Uh, okay. So short term, slowly desegregate, increase racism, resistance to change, i.e. Little Rock, 1957. Yeah, guys, see this is why I use Opera browser. Just go down, get ads. Nice, very nice. There we go. It was a Supreme Court case that began to undermine the segregation laws. Brown versus Ford, 1950 in Topeka. 54. That's incorrect. Who was murdered in 1955? What does this tell us about racism in this period? Emmett Till, murdered by two white people. White people not get charged. Murder. Mother done an open casket burial to stand against racism. So Emmett Till, 14 years old, murders were white, got off with no punishment. Yep, racist system, but Emmett Till's mother uses the tragedy to raise awareness of racism. Oh. 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 My ears. What about Little Rock High School? So like, Forbes won't allow 9 black students in the fucking school. In the school, let's see. And uses the National Guard stop them from coming in. Eisenhower sends in the not the state, it was the military vanguard to get the students to school safely. Over the 4 days, tries to stop non-black children from school. The army to stop them. President Eisenhower takes over the National Guard to allow the students to go. You know what? This marking is honestly a bit, just a bit, a bit too soft. So we're just gonna have to, yeah, boy. Oh yeah. Wait, what was this recall? Okay, 1954, Brown versus or Topeka. Topeka case. Oh yeah. Okay, who refused to confer C kicks on the bus boycott? That's obviously Rosa Parks. Why was the Montgomery bus boycott successful? Okay, hold on. Commitment of those involved lasted over a year. Over a year. Role of leaders like Martin Luther King were influential and united people together. Committing those involved lasted over a year. Role of leaders like Martin Luther King increased publicity, so it was very influential and united people all together. Go on. Rule of the NAACP who took the case to the Supreme Court and won. Browder versus Gale. Don't know what that is. Why was Martin Luther King so important in the civil rights movement? So he was a priest, very influential, very respected. All right. So he's a great public speaker. He's a Baptist preacher. Set up the organization SCLC, the something Christian something crystallization. You need that in chemistry. Don't make fun of me for that. Which worked with the white politicians. To get change, make use of nonviolent tactics to gain the moral high ground. See, that was with the left next side. Right. Who opposed the civil rights movement in the 1950s? The KKK Klan, violent activist groups who attacked anyone who was not white, and then there's the WCC. Streamline to politics, still violent and threatening. Okay, so like the KK clan is the Ku Klux Klan. Very violent, burning crosses, murder, lynches, white citizens council, more mainstreamed. Why did I say streamlined? With support from white politicians in the South, but still use violence and intimidation. Dixiecrats, Southern Democrats who opposed change and blocked reform. Okay, so the Ku Klux Klan, who were very violent, burned crosses, they used murder. The White Citizens Council, the WCC, the more mainstream with support from white politicians in the South, but still used violence and intimidation. The Dixiecrats, Southern Democrats who opposed change and blocked reform in Congress. I'm not remembering all that. Why did Oh yeah, I love this one. Why did this 1960s Green Borough sit-in matter? Along with the boycott, can be seen as still the non-violent tactic involved both call and SCLC, since spread rapidly and directly that the setting up of the SNCC, SNCC, that's the nickname that was given to it at the time. What was the significance of 1961? Freedom rides, riders, no. Along with the boycott, no. Show the level of racism in the South. At Anniston, one bus was attacked with a firebomb. Yes. So basically, they broke the window. They said, Kobe! Threw the firebomb into the window. Some guy was holding it in while the other guys were trying to get out. Then I think a police officer busted, busted police officer busted the door, and then they escaped. As soon as they got out of the bus, they started getting over each other. No, sorry, that's gay as hell. They were attacked by the Ku Klux Klan and the White Citizens Council. Again, 9 in history tomorrow, boys. Let's go. All right, what was the significance of the 1961? Yep, this one. Oh yeah, check chat time. Anyone? No? Give myself lots of hearts. You didn't see anything. Alright, why was Martin Luther King so important in the civil rights movement? He was a Baptist preacher. We need to see the hint. Great public speaker. Great public speaker. Set up the just SCLC, which works with the AACP and CORE. Okay, worked with white politicians. So the SCLC worked with white politicians to get change. Okay, made use of nonviolent tactics to gain the moral high ground. Okay, I mean, I guess I could understand that. Who opposed the civil rights movement? Okay, so the Ku Klux Klan. Imagine being part of a name called the Ku Klux Klan. That'd be so awesome. Alliteration for a name. Oh, sick, dude. Road to being cancelled. Ku Klux Klan, violent, freaking burned crosses, I think. Crosses. Okay, we can't be wasting time. We only have half an hour left. Right. Okay. Lock in now. Watch. Again. That was weird. Anyway, burn crosses. Lynching. Then there's the White Citizens Council, more streamlined to white politicians, still violent and threatening. Then there's the freaking Dixiecrat, used to be part of the Democrats activist movements against black people. Okay, so Ku Klux Klan very violent, burning, cross, and murder. White Citizens Council more mainstream with support from white politicians in the South, but still use violence and intimidation. The Dixiecrats, Southern Democrats who opposed change and blocked reforming Congress. I get it now. So the Dixiecrats, they left the Democrats. They said, nah, we don't want to be part of you. You guys support the freaking, sorry. Hey, we don't want to be a part of your freaking Democrat movement. We're going to be the Dixiecrats, yeah? We're not voting for blacks. They suck. So form the Dixiecrats, who did not like change, and also when a new idea came in Congress, they said, "No, no." Try to look cold with this. Nah. Wakanda for take 4 minutes by the way. Who was James Meredith? Oh, he got applied to the he tried to apply to the university in Mississippi. Ole Missy, I think. So first black student to go to Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. Didn't even need to look. Didn't even need to look. And that's how morally locked in am I. Hey, you get that joke. You get that joke. I know you get that joke. You don't? This is not a video. This is a stream. And I'm acting like it's a fucking video. I am cooked. How am I supposed to meet Mr. Beast from this cringe? Ugh. You know what I mean? Who was Jim Meredith? First black student to go to University of Mississippi after NAACP stepped in the 1962. State Governor Rose Bond and tried to stop him. There was a huge violence. So what happened is 300. No, it was 300 martial soldiers went in to protect uh, James Meredith, and there was a 3,000 people riot, and 2 civilians were killed, and then over 300 people were like injured, and 160 federal marshals were injured. Meredith later leads march against Vietnam in 1966, and then he is shot. Notice how every single black person here got shot. Yep. Crazy racism at the time. No. Why did King lead a march in Birmingham, Alabama? 1963? Campaign C, I think. He knew the police chief Bull Connor would use violence, including against children. The publicity would put pressure on JFK to introduce the Civil Rights Bill. So, that is not the one. It was. Is it? How? It's 1963. What was the 1964 Freedom Summer? So, Snick and Co. test whether the 1964 Civil Rights Act will make a difference to black people being able to register to vote. Of 17,000 black people who tried to register to vote, only 1,600 succeeded. What? So there was something called the Mississippi Murders. Michael Schwerner, he was white, and James Chaney, black. Andrew Goodman, white, killed by KKK. Pressure on LBJ to act. Federal oversight of voter registration in states where under 50% of those eligible to vote were registered, i.e., racist southern states. This is yes, this one. You know those characters from One Piece. They got the strange laughs. Yeah, I've got. What's that on the camera? Oh, it's right. It's my peg. Federal oversight of voter registration states where eligible. Which one is this one? Why did the 90s? Oh, yeah. So, federal oversight of voter registration states were under 50% were registered. No. Some was in Alabama, very racist, with only 1% of blacks registered to vote. King knew that the march would be met with violence, put pressure on LBJ to pass the Voting Rights Act. That is the correct thing to do anyway. You have to put pressure. Sometimes you have to put a bit of pressure to get what you want. Like, come on. Come on. Making those toys. Stop working the feet. I'm not alone in this house. They're gonna think I'm crazy. What did the 1964 Civil Rights Act do? Gonna be equal pay for all gender? No. Ban job discrimination. Federal government could force schools to desegregate. Ban discrimination voter test. Not easy to enforce. It was not easy to enforce. I don't know how. I forgot. Come on, Charlie. It's your birthday. Come on, Charlie. It's your birthday. What did the 1965 Voting Rights Act do? Guarantee the right to vote for all citizens over the age of 18 in those in South. federal oversight of vote registration in since under 50% of those that vote were registered, i.e. racist of the state. What did Malcolm X matter? Can be seen as the beginning of the Black Power. Rejected non-violence and working with the white people. He was part of the national. He's part of the National of Islam. Alhamdulillah. And did begin to shift his position after visiting Mecca. Mecca al-Mukarramah. Woohoo! Yes, sir. Woohoo! Yes, sir. Oh, it's too loud. Okay, wait, let's check chat real quick. No one. Not even a single view. Seriously? It'll go for editing later. See the beginning of Black Power. Speaking of violent, yep. Black Power helped the civil rights movement. Yes. Became more radical, shifted further to Black Power. It helped. Sense of pride in being black. Of huge cultural significance. Muhammad Ali, he was a lovely person. James Brown, black and proud. 1968 Olympics, nonviolence had run its course and didn't appeal to young urban black people. Why did the 1960s Greensboro sittings matter? Along with the boycott, can be seen as the start of the non-violent tactic involved peaceful protesting face to face. So, along with the boycott, can be seen as start involved both CORE and SCLC, since spread rapidly and directly led to the setting up of SNCC, SNCC. What's the significance of the 1961 Freedom Rides? Okay, tested the segregation laws on buses. What the place where they got attacked? I'm gonna have to use the hint. At Aniston, one bus attacked, used a firebomb. Don't bomb my house, please. Used the bomb, so used the firebomb. Very violent. So showed level of racism in the South. Okay. Anderson, one of the bus was attacked with a firebomb, showed that the police, led by Paul Connor, would not stop the KKK, forced the federal government of JFK to step in and enforce desegregation of bus facilities in the South. Okay, who was James Meredith? Black student who got enrolled to University of Mississippi with federal protection. Large riot where 300 were injured, 2 civilians died, 160 federal officers injured. Later in 1966, Meredith would start March Washington, where he would be shot. So March, it's March against fear. Fear. Boo. Yeah. I can't see chat right now. 8 minutes left. What? Okay. Why did King lead march against in Alabama in 1963? Campaign C, confrontations. Campaign C, confrontation. So why did King lead the march in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963? He knew Paul Connor would use violence, including dogs, which put pressure on LBJ to pass the Civil Rights Act. So, Cameron Secret, he knew that police chief would use violence, including against children, but police would put pressure on JFK to introduce the Civil Rights Bill. I was incorrect. What did the 1965 Voting Rights Act do? Federal oversight of voter registration. Did Black Power help the civil rights movement? On a local level, help Black people set up soup kitchens and health clinics. That is not the one. That is for where he goes to South California. I think he goes to California. What does it end? No, it helped. There was a sense of pride of being Black. Huge culture. It was a huge cultural significance. Muhammad Ali, Dean Brown, Black and Proud. Yeah, that one. Okay. 31. Why did the king lead a march? He knew Bull Connor used violence even against children and put pressure on JFK to pass a civil rights bill. So, campaign confrontation, he knew that police chief Bull Connor would use violence, including against children. Publicity would put pressure on JFK to introduce the civil rights bill. Okay, fair enough. What was the 1964 Freedom Summer? SNCC and core test whether the 1964 Civil Rights Act will make a difference to how how blacks were treated. Snick and core test whether the 19 different black people being able to register to vote. Oh, of 17,000 black people who tried to register to vote, only 1,600 succeeded. Mississippi murders: Michael Schwerner, white; James Chaney, black; Andrew Goodman, white; Goodbye KKK. Put pressure on LBJ to act. Why didn't the 1965 Selma March matter? Selma was in Alabama, very racist, with only 1%. I'm lazy, don't question. Of blacks being to vote, pressuring LBJ to pass Civil Rights Voting Act. Symbols of Alabama, King the March would be met with violence, put pressure on LBJ to pass the Voting Rights Act. That's basically correct. What did the 1964 Civil Rights Act do? Banned job discrimination. Federal government could force schools to desegregate. What else? Allowed black people to vote. So ban job discrimination, federal government could force schools to ban discrimination in voter registration tests, and it was not easy to enforce. I'm going to put this as incorrect. Alexa, how much time is left?
You have 20 minutes left on your 1 hour timer.
Oh. So tired. Yeah, we cut back up with energy. Okay, why did the 965 vote? What did the Um, allowed black people to vote. Federal oversight of voter registration in states where under 50% of those eligible to vote were registered, i.e., recent states. Don't know if I'll ever get that one in Malcolm X matter. Oh, wrong one. Can be seen as the beginning of black power. Rejected non-violence and working with white politicians. Can be seen as the beginning of black power, rejecting non-violence and working with white people. He was a part of the National of Islam and the Nation of Islam, and did begin to shift his position after visiting Mecca. Assassinated in 1965. Who would assassinate such a beautiful man? Like, his name's Malcolm X. Who names the baby X? No one. He's special. Why you murder him? Did Black Power? Oh, hold on. Oh yeah. Oh. See how I'm tall now? I'm actually 6'5" in real life. Underwear. Did Black Power help the civil rights movement? Yes. Hold on. We need to see. We need to take off this watch. How does Chunks do it? Tommy Hilfiger. Sponsor me. Okay, bro. Did Black Power help the civil rights movement? Helped. Sense of pride in being black, of huge culture cultural significance. Muhammad Ali, someone else. Muhammad Ali, James Brown, Black and Proud, 1968 Olympics. Non-violence had run its course and didn't appeal to young urban black people. Okay, let's check the chat. What's up, everybody? Wrong place. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, should now come up here. Yeah, see? Ooh, live chat. Top fans right now. It's just me. Should I get more people in the live? I think I might just get more people in the live. Hold on. Okay, let me just quickly. Alexa, pause the timer.
1 hour timer paused.
Okay, so now we just gotta test the audio. Try and get more people in. Okay, chat. So nobody really wants to be. Okay, chat. Watching
So
this. Nobody really wants to be. Okay, chat. Watching. So nobody really wants to be. We're back. We're gonna need this. Okay, I am ready. Oh, Alexa, unpause the timer. Dumbass
Your
bitch.
1 hour timer resumed on ORB of Endless Chaos with about 16
Okay.
minutes left.
What did the 1965 Voting Rights Act do? Tested the it surely tested. So federal oversight of voter registration in states where under 50% legible were allowed to vote, i.e., southern racist states. Yeah, did Black Power help the civil rights movement? Helped sense of pride in being black, huge cultural significance. Muhammad Ali, Olympics. Muhammad Ali, James Brown, black and I'm proud. 1968 Olympics. Non-violence had run its course and didn't appeal to young urban black people. Did Black Power hinder the civil rights movement? Seized the threat to many white people. Opposition to Vietnam meant they lost the sport B shape. Saw the black class as a particular threat and used the FBI against them. No concrete achievements. Who are the key figures? Groups in Black Power. Black Panthers Stokely Carmichael changed the SNCC away from non-violence to Black Power. NOL, the Nation of Islam. Did the Black Panthers make a positive contribution to civil rights? They helped on a local level. They helped help black people, set up soup kitchens and health clinics around. Wait, which one? Black Panthers make a set up soup kitchens and health clinics around breakfast clubs for children, challenge police brutality tactics, openly carrying guns, uniform seen as a threat, force people to contribute to the social programs, robbed some banks. Leader Hugh Newton was involved in the shootout with the police. It took place in urban areas. What, like what's? Okay. Sorry, that's too loud, guys. Voting Rights Act and change through. What do the rights of 1965? 67 tells us about the civil rights movement. Okay. MLK, Martin Luther King Field's Chicago campaign 1966. Wanted to end discrimination in housing. He wanted to show that nonviolent protest could work in the North, but it didn't. Met with huge racism. Okay, this needs to be closer. Oh. Ah, ah, there we go. Guess what does it fall? Want to end discrimination. Didn't want to promote huge racism and no real police. No real police reacted. Oh my god, they paid lip service. Seemed to listen demands but didn't really do anything. Okay, Black Panthers make a positive contribution to civil rights. On a local level, help poor black people, set up soup kitchens and health clinics. So Black Panthers set up soup kitchens and health clinics. They run breakfast clubs for children, challenge police brutality, tactics, or carrying gun and uniform seems threat. Force people to contribute to social programs and rob some banks. That's not very good, isn't it? Leader Huey Newton was involved in a shootout with the police. Took place in urban areas. Like what's district? Alexa. thought it would work. Anyway, Legal Rights 64, Civil Rights Act, and 65 Voting Rights Act didn't change the fact that many people lived in poor areas, ghettos, with high employment of rights. Civil rights movement. Problem. Okay. Did Black Power help the civil rights movement? So it helped sense of pride in being black, of huge cultural significance. Muhammad Ali. Shut up, email. Uh, 1968 Olympics. Uh, I don't know. I keep forgetting. Non-violence had run its course and didn't appeal to young urban black people. I don't know how. These headphones are uncomfortable. What was the impact of King's assassination of 1968? Civil rights became more radical and shifted further to black power. What the French? Why would the French do by Dien Bien Phu 1954? French were betrayed by local Vietnamese population sided with the Viet Minh. A strategic mistake to try to defend the airstrip, which was easy to attack. Was a domino theory believed that if you didn't stop it, one country after the other would become communist. What was the Ho Chi Minh Trail? Supply route through the ocean from China to North Vietnam. No, you idiot. I fell for the first trap. They're smart, you know, they're smart. Trail through the jungle from North Vietnam to the south, passing through Laos and Cambodia, used to supply Viet Cong. Because yeah, you know, like the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the since like South Vietnam and North Vietnam were like split due to them being split across the 64th quadrant. That was because of the what was it? I don't know. It's like a state where it separates North Vietnam from South Vietnam, and so no one's like allowed to cross in. So the Ho Chi Minh Trail is like loops around Vietnam through Laos and Cambodia all the way to North Vietnam. So it's from South to North Vietnam, and they get more like resources that way. What's the name of this army of the South Vietnam? Don't even look. ARVN. Oh yeah. The Black Power hindered the civil rights movement. Okay. Seen as a threat to white people, opposition to Vietnam meant that they lost support from the U.S. government. Okay, seen as a threat to people, they support the government, which is LBJ. Nixon saw the Black Panthers as a particular threat and used the FBI against them. No concrete achievements. Ooh. Anyway, why were the French defeated Dien Bien Phu in 1954? French army was, I don't know, strategic mistake, trying to defend the airstrip, which was easy to attack. What was the Ho Chi Minh Trail? Trail passed through the jungle, opened from North Vietnam to South, passing through Laos and Cambodia to Swahili Viet Cong. Okay, well, if we're almost 7 minutes left. Did Black Power help the civil rights movement? Seen as a threat to white people. Nixon used FBI to track them down as he saw the Black Panthers were a threat. Help, sense of pride. Oh, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. Continue. Who are the key figures, groups in Black Power? So there's the Black Panthers, the societal, the national of Islam, and of Islam, national of Islam, NOL, National Islam Corps, NAACP, all that stuff. So Black Panthers, Stokely Carmichael, don't know who that guy is. He changed the SNCC away from non-violent to Black Power, and then Nation of Islam. So Carmichael changed SNCC to Black Power, like away from non-violent protest to Black Power. I'll try and get that next time. Did the Black Panthers make a positive contribution to civil rights? On a local level, they helped poor Black people, set up soup kitchens and health care for people, set up breakfast clubs for children. Okay, on local level, help poor people, set up soup kitchens and health clinics, ran breakfast clubs for children, challenged police brutality. The tactics they used were openly carrying guns and uniforms seen as a threat, forced people to contribute to social programs, and robbed some banks. Leader Hugh Newton was involved in a shootout with the police. How? Information seen as a threat. Uniform seen as a threat. Took place in urban areas like Watts District, LA. Legal rights for civil rights acts didn't change the fact that Black people lived in worse in poor areas with high employment, often the result of made worse by result of Black Power. What do the riots of 1965 to 67 tell us about the civil rights movement? Okay, what did the riots of 1965 tell us about the civil rights movement? That is the same thing. Did MLK fail? So in Chicago, he tried to get rid of racism in housing. He believed that non-violent protests would work in the North. It did not. Faced huge racism. Mayor of state Chicago. Lips. So something lip kissed. Lip kissed as if he was going to change anything, but paid no attention whatsoever. Was it discrimination in housing? Wanted to show that nonviolent protests could work in the North. It did with huge racism, but no real police brutality, so it didn't get publicly. Mia Daly paid lip service, so it's lip service. What did I say? Lip kit. Wow. Lip kissed. Really? Oh. Lip service. He seemed to listen to demands, but didn't really do anything. Oh my god, how am I already this tired? What was the impact of King's assassination? Caused huge riots, increased from non-violent protest to Black Power movement. Civil rights became more radical and shifted further to Black Power. Okay, that's why would the French defeated so strategic mistake trying to defend ship vulnerable to attack. Airstrip, which was easy to attack. Airstrip. Alright, so there's a minute left. So yeah, that's it. That's enough today. What we're gonna do. Alexa, delete timer.
1 hour timer cancelled.
Okay, so we're going to take, what time is it now? I'll take a 7-minute break. Alexa, do 7-minute break.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa, put a 7-minute timer.
7 minutes, starting now.
Nice. Okay, just take a 7-minute break. That's it. Dahomey, no, get out. Ingelec. Get out.
Okay.
Stupid monkey, I swear to God. What a monkey, I swear. Okay, let's do this. We are back. Oh my god, that was excruciating. We are back. Oh my god, that was excruciating. We are back. So like what we're gonna do. Hold on. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna spend an hour doing some flashcards. What that means is just gonna go through the quiz, the flashcards. Then we're gonna go to the AI for half an hour, and then we're gonna do a fast paper on history. Hooray! Yay! Anyway, let's go. Wrong. Okay. So let's go. Flashcards. Okay. Track progress. What are the problems facing Black Americans in the early 1950s? Racism and racism and segregation. Racism in the South, no voting rights. What organization was trying to improve the lives of Black Americans in the early 1950s? Core and NAACP. Yep. What was the Supreme Court case that began to undermine the Jim Crow segregation laws? Brown versus Topeka case, 1954. The Brown case lead to change in the long term? Yes. Helped desegregate. It desegregated restaurants. Long term, didn't happen straight away. It was slow. So long run, yes, desegregation began and is the basis of NAACP challenging the Jim Crow laws. Short term, so desegregate, increased racism, resistance to change. Little Rock, 1957, who murdered 1995. What does this tell us about racism in this period? Emmett Till was murdered in 1955 by two white men who let go, didn't um, face any charges. There was lots of racism. His mother had an open casket burial for her son to increase what was it, publicity about racism. Emmett Till, 14 years old, murders were white, got off with no punishment. Racist system. Emmett Till's. All these are the tragedies to raise awareness of racism. What happened at Little Rock High School in 1957? Governor Faubus did not want 9 black students to come into the school, and so made soldiers block the 9 students to enter the school. There's also President Eisenhower to control the royal guard to allow black students to enter the high school, not because he felt bad for the students, but to present the state as still under control by the supreme government. Does that make sense? Governor Faber tries to stop non-black children from attending the school and using the army to stop them. President Eisenhower takes over the National Guard to allow the students to go. He refuses to give up a seat, kicks start. Yeah, that's Rosa Parks. Go beyond shit. Not now, dude. I was Montgomery bus boycott successful. Commitment to the role. It lasted over a year. It put pressure on the system to desegregate buses. Commitment of those involved lasted over a year. Role of leaders like Martin Luther King increased publicity. The role of the NAACP took the case to the Supreme Court and won. Browder versus Gale. But that is wrong because some bits wishy-washy. Why was Martin Luther King so important in the civil rights movement? He was a Baptist preacher. He was very influential. He was a good speaker. Alexa, put a 1 hour timer.
1 hour, starting now.
No, Alexa, pause timer.
1 hour timer pause.
Was Martin Luther King so important in the civil rights movement? Baptist preacher, good public speaker, very influential. Great public speaker, Baptist preacher. set up organization SCLC, which worked with white politicians to get change and made use of nonviolent tactics to gain the moral high ground. Who opposed the civil rights movements in the 1950s? The Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizens Council, the Dixiecrats. So the Ku Klux Klan, they were a violent group uh, who were violent against anyone other than white people. The White Citizens Council is more streamlined towards getting getting assistance from white politicians. It was still violent and threatening, and the Dixiecrats, they were former Southern domestic Democrat. No, what was it again? Dixiecrats. Forgot. Southern Democrats who opposed change and blocked reform in Congress. So more mainstream with support from white politicians in the South, but still use violence and intimidation. Yeah. Why did the 1916 Greensboro sit-ins matter? After the bus boycott, it served as a new form of nonviolent protest, which was face-to-face nonviolent protest. It spread publicly. There was lots of people aware of this and put pressure on the federal government. So, along with the boycott, can be seen as a solid nonviolent tactic. Both core and SCLC sit-ins spread rapidly and directly at the setting up of the SNCC, Students Something N-Word Council. Was the significance of the 1961 Freedom Ride as a test? It tested if buses were segregated. Anniston. There was a attack on Anniston. Showed like how racist the North was. Bus in Anniston was attacked. The window was broken. Threw a firebomb in the window. They beat up black people were beaten up by the KKK, which put pressure on John F. Kennedy to pass the Civil Rights Bill. Showed the level of racism in the South. Anderson, one bus was attacked with a firebomb. Showed the police, led by Buchanan, would not stop the KKK. Forced the federal government of JFK to step in and force desegregation of bus facilities in the South. Oh, this was in the South, not the North. Oh.
It's food time.
Food time. Oh, okay. I'll be back, guys. Gonna go eat, and I'll be back. Food wasn't ready actually, it was just a false alarm. Okay. Who was James Meredith? Student that was enrolled in Mississippi University of Mississippi. He had to have the army to protect him while he was going. There was 300 uh 300 guards. It was no, yeah, 100 300 guards and like 3,000 protesters. 2 civilians killed, over 300 were injured, over 160 federal law enforcement officers were injured. And he, in 1966, James Meredith done the march against fear, got shot. Fear, yeah, it's march, do that, yep. 1962, NAACP, Meredith, yep. Martin King lead a march, Birmingham, Alabama. Basic confrontation. Oh yeah, what was this 1964 Freedom Summer? Hold on. Meh. What was the 1964 Freedom Summer? I did it. I have a dream speech, and and a snake and contest whether the 1964 Civil Rights Act will make a difference to Black people being able to register to vote. Of 17,000 Black people who tried to register to vote, only 16,000 succeeded. Mississippi murders: Michael Schwerner, white; James Chaney, Black; Andrew Goodman, white, killed by KKK pressure on LBJ to act. Part of the 1965 Selma March matter. Selma was in Alabama, very racist. Only 1% of blacks registered to vote. King knew that the march would be met with violence, put pressure on LBJ to pass the Voting Rights Act. What did the 1964 Civil Rights Act do? Allowed the people who are like the 50% of people who are able to vote, i.e. in racist countries, in the southern racist countries. And oh, for God's sake. Okay, what did the 1965 Voting Rights Act do? Allowed freaking 50% of the people who are allowed to vote, made them allowed to vote. For example, southern racist countries, racist states. Federal oversight of voter registration states where under 50% of those eligible to vote were registered, i.e. racist southern states, yep. Why did Malcolm X matter? Malcolm X. Yeah, love cracking fingers, baby. Why did Malcolm X matter? Can be seen as the beginning of Black Power, rejected non-violence and worked with white people. He was part of the National of Islam and did begin to shift his position after visiting Mecca. Assassinated in 1965. Beautiful man. Did Black Power help the civil rights movement? In the long term, yes. They opened soup kitchens, healthcare clinics. They opened breakfast clubs for children. What else? Unless I'm thinking of the last. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of something else. So it helped as a sense of black pride for the blacks. There was huge cultural significance, like Muhammad Ali, James Brown. I'm black, black, and I'm proud. And there's also the 1968 Olympics. Raised a black fist, like forms of nonviolent protests. Nonviolent protest has run its course, which did not appeal the young urban black people. Did Black Power hinder the civil rights movement? So it seems as okay, no more cheats. It was seen as a threat to white people. Uh, especially JFK. He saw the Black Panthers as a threat, so they sent the FBI to shut them down. Seen as a threat to many white people, opposition to Vietnam meant they lost support of LBJ. Nixon saw it was Nixon. So the Black Panthers, as a particular threat, used the FBI against them. No concrete evidence. Who are the key figures, groups, and Black Power? So the SNCC, the NAACP, the National of Islam. It's also freaking Car something, Carworth, Carmichael. Oh my God! Change the SNCC away from non-violent violence to Black Power. He was Nation of Islam as well. Yeah, and Black Panthers. She's seen that coming. Did Black Panthers make a positive contribution to civil rights? Yes. So they set up soup kitchens, uh, healthcare clinics, soup kitchens, like breakfast clubs for children. Uh, they also they used tactics like holding guns out. They they made people contribute into social events and robbed banks. So on the local level, help poor black people set up soup kitchens and health clinics, ran breakfast for children. They challenged police brutality. So they openly carried guns and used forms seen as a threat. Forced people to contribute to social programs and robbed some banks. Either Huey Newton was involved in a shootout with the police. Washy, give that myself. Or did the rise of 1965 to 67 tales about the civil rights movement? I don't know. Took place in urban areas like Watts District in LA. Legal Rights 64 Civil Rights Act and 65 Civil Rights Act didn't change the fact that many black people lived in poor areas, ghettos, high employment. Often the result of or made worse by police brutality result of black power. Was that the result of black power though? That's the question. Ooh. So like what did the rise of 1965, 67 was about the civil rights movement? So like what they're saying is it took places in urban areas where the people there realized, oh wait, so like in 19 okay, so the people are like, oh wait, the 1964 Civil Rights Act didn't work for us. No, did the Civil Voting Rights Act work for us because it didn't change our poverty conditions. So like that increased tensions, of course, between the of the increased riots because they were still living in poverty and oh yes, they lived in poor places like the ghettos, areas of high employment, didn't help with police brutality and that. And in fact, the question remains: did the Black Power cause all this? Uh, did MLK fail in his Chicago campaign in 1966? He did fail. He thought that he could bring nonviolent protests to Chicago, which was in the north, and it didn't work out. He faced huge racism. It wasn't, but there was little violence, so it wasn't, and it wasn't also made public. Who else? Daley, uh, Governor Daley of Chicago gave him lip service, like he pretended that he heard everything, took everything seriously, when in reality he didn't do anything and didn't change anything, only like a minimum amount, maybe like the set up soup kitchens. Wanted to end discrimination housing, wanted to show that non-violence could work in the north, and it didn't. Led to huge racism, but no real police brutality. So there wasn't real police brutality, sorry. So didn't get public. Mayor Daley paid lip servicing to listen to demands, but didn't really do anything. Yep. What was the impact of King's assassinations? So there's an increase in riots. First of all, there's like a huge uproar. What else? Like the movement from non-violent protests to black power has massively increased. Civil rights became more radical and shifted further to black power. Civil rights became more radical. Why were the French defeated Dien Bien Phu in 1954? Well, so like the French tried to protect a airstrip which left them easy to attack. Strategic try to defend airstrip, which was easy to attack. What was the domino theory? The belief that if one country falls, the rest of the country would be falling to communism. The belief if you didn't stop it, one country after the other would become communist. Yep. What was the Ho Chi Minh Trail? So it wrapped around Vietnam. It went through Laos and Cambodia and delivered resources to the North Vietnamese. What was the name of the Army of the South Vietnam? That's the ARVN. That's nice and easy. What was the Strategic Hamlet Program introduced by no JFK? No, it was introduced by JFK. Uh, it tried to win the hearts and minds of people. They took villages, they kept the villages inside them, and aided advisors who are just really like soldiers, but they named advisors so like they don't cause any conflict. Anyway, they kept people inside those houses, made sure to win their hearts and minds, which didn't work out. Okay, why is this not flipping? 1962, plan to move villages out of areas controlled by VC. So something like that. Trying to win the hearts and minds as well. Why was Diem assassinated in 1963? He was a weak leader. He instead of bringing the people apart, the people closer, they pulled them apart. He disagreed with Buddhist views, which turned away non-communist people from supporting him, and also he just wasn't working. Protests of the burning monk Quang Duc showed the U.S. public how unpopular Diem was. Okay, yeah. So Quang Duc, he was he burnt himself to show how unpopular and how like bad leadership under Diem is. Okay, why did involvement escalate under Johnson? So Lyndon B. Johnson, he becomes morally locked in. After Quang Duc's incident, all right, the entirety of the world is going like, USA is allowing people in Vietnam to kill themselves. What are they doing? Anyway, so like, they can't get out of that situation. They're morally locked in, so they have to dive further into the Vietnam situation in order to get out, and that just escalates further. Oh my God! All right, see that? Two. Same thing. What was the Gulf of Tonkin incident? So like US airship thought to be hit by a VC airship, VC missile. Later on, turns out it might have been the weather. LBJ uses this as an excuse to lie to forgot the government, not the government. Sorry, Parliament, not Parliament. Sorry, Congress. He lies to Congress. He said we are getting oppressed by the Vietnamese. We need to start sending soldiers in. He gets a blank check. He can now do what he wants. He can send soldiers into Vietnam, machines into Vietnam, weapons into Vietnam, South Vietnam. I mean, for God's sake. Okay. U.S. ships in the Gulf of Tonkin believe that they have been fired on by Vietnamese torpedo boats. Yep. What were the tactics used by U.S. in Vietnam? So they use Agent Orange to try and clean out the VC hiding in the forests. They used also Operation Rolling Thunder, which was 1968, to like they bombed Cambodia and Laos, only because to destroy the Ho Chi Minh Trail. That's all I have. Search and destroy. Operation Rolling Thunder. Use of chemical weapons. Fair enough. Nice. Did search and destroy work? No. I don't know why. I forgot. 10 is a 10 to 1 death rate in US favor. I don't know if that. What? Did Operation Rolling Thunder work? No, it didn't work. It just increased conflict. US lost almost 1 billion of planes to do 100 million worth of damage. So they lost a tenth. They lost a billion for doing a damage that's worth a tenth of the total cost. USA, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Yeah, okay. So what was the most common? Yeah, Agent Orange. Destroyed jungle, but had a horrific impact on population, including cancer and birth defects. Yeah, so like villages that like got infected by this, they would get cancer and birth defects. So like that increased tensions also. Did the use of chemical weapons and napalm help the US? It did not, sadly. It just increased the tension between the South Vietnamese and the US army. Led people away from joining. Led people away to join the North Vietnam. It meant the Vietnamese presence turns against the US. Yeah, something like that. What is guerrilla warfare like? VCs would hide in the guerrilla. Not in the guerrilla. That'd be weird. Hella freaky. But seriously, they would hide in the bushes. They would try and trap. They would live inside tunnels. They'd create this like tunnel system. They would hide in the trees. Like they used the advantage of their home ground as their battleground. If that makes sense. Hit and run battles rather than the traditional battle of one army against the other. Is that what it was? Really? Okay, that I didn't remember that. Why did the US fail in Vietnam? Moral of US, particularly of grunts, constructs really bad, made worse by guerrilla tactics. Why was the Tet Offensive 1968 a turning point? So it was like a holy day, and then Ho Chi Minh decides to attack the US army on this base. So they take control of the American radio towers and the American embassy for 3 total weeks. And then there's some guy, I forgot his name, not Falbus, William Cronkite. William Cronkite, all right, he comes to Vietnam and he literally quotes, "What the hell is going on?" That's one of his quotes. And then he comes back to America. He says, like, in this war, it is only but a stalemate. Like, it's up to a stalemate. And that kind of makes, like, America wonder if, they're not winning. We need to get out of that war fast. We're not winning this war. They're obviously winning. You know what I mean? They're losing faith in the US. Therefore, there's more like opposition to the war. A surprise attack on Okay. What was the Nixon Doctrine? So when it was 1969, it outlined like Nixon's domestic policy. So it would help it would train the ARVN, but it would not be responsible anymore for its protection. The ARVN had to protect itself, but it supported them with training, military equipment, and weapons. US would help countries to fight against communism. Something like that, you know? What was the policy of Vietnamization? To withdraw US troops and end the war, peace with honor. How did Nixon escalate the war? Sent troops into Cambodia to fight Chemo Rouge, but only 19 miles in. Did Vietnamization work? No, it did not. ARVM proved they were not really up to the fight after retreating in Laos 1971. I don't get this. We're gonna have to do some extra research. Why did the opposition to the war grow? Cost huge, 167 million. And money needed at home. Oh my god. Imagine the money. If I had that money, I would not be living here. I'm so pissed. Okay, what was the My Lai massacre? I think it was Orangetown. U.S. troops led by Lieutenant Cayley rape and murder around 350 civilians. Oh, what happened in Kent State, 1970? Troops opened fire and killed 4 students. Yeah, they were protesters who continued to support the war after 1968. Big heads, I think. Patriots didn't want to see U.S. beaten and still feared communists. How did Nixon force the peace talks, improve relations with China and USSR, to put pressure on the North? What were the terms of the Paris Peace Accords in 1973? South Vietnam and North Vietnam stay separate, and they would help the ARVN. Vietnam would become a single country by negotiation. What? No, it didn't work. The president of the South refused to negotiate with the North. There we go. So we know 58% of the content. Now, alright, so I promise you it's not the glasses. I promise you. Promise it's not the glasses, it's just my neck. Ow. 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 Okay. Anyway, so bro said monkey in the chat. What? Disgusting. Ew. Who you call monkey? There's no monkey in this room. Me. Fair enough. I don't know what to say that. Alright, so now we're gonna have to do the history past paper. We are going to do it on a Word document. Meaning we're gonna have to change this stuff right here. Okay. Okay, let's quickly add scene. Aha, okay. This is the browser, this shuts off the camera. Okay. So window. There we go. I'm gonna put the browser on top. There we go. So we can see ourselves. There we go. So we don't want the window display capture because that'll just mess everything up. Yeah. Nope. C2. Trying to figure this out. Okay. Now that we went through like the entirety of the flashcards, now all we have to do now is do a history past paper. Let's do let's go here. Exams. History. Ed Excel Gcse. History paper 3 ed Excel. Show all subjects. Where's history? History. A-level GCSE. Past papers. Specimen. What? Classical specifications. What? Weird. Art, European. History GCSE resources. Yeah, this is not what we wanted. Ed Excel. History GCSE past papers. There we go. Crime punishment medicine. No. 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 Russia. No. Modern study. USA conflict at home and abroad. June 2023 paper. Nice. Okay. طيب خلاص دحين انزل.
Okay,
انقلع تحت الحين انزل.
The food come.
alright.
The food.
انقلع تحت. Go
Okay.
down. I will smack you. Idiot. Honestly. Okay. Sadly, it's going to have to be the end of the stream here. Because, well, first of all, it is literally 10 o'clock. Second of all, I've got to eat. It's going to take some time. And I plan to staying up at like another, 3 hours to finish everything I need to do. I don't want to keep you waiting that long. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, no matter like how many views you got. So yeah, that's end of day 1 out of 7. Let's do well tomorrow, guys. I'll be back tomorrow for math. See you there.